Hey guys, it's Laurence Thomas here. Hope you're all doing well. In this video, what I wanted to talk about is a little bit different. I wanted to talk about some of the things that I wish I knew when I first started that I do know now, especially when it comes to generating sales calls. And I know that most agency owners, and they definitely should if they're not already, are trying to grow through cold email. So I want to kind of look at this and share my lessons through the lens of cold email as well. We've generated thousands and thousands of sales calls through cold emails to date. We've worked with well over 200 other agencies. So we've picked up quite a few lessons over the years around how to sign more clients. And I wanted to share those lessons with you today. One of the first things that anybody should know and should kind of start at is what they're willing to spend to generate a new client, and therefore what they're willing to spend to generate a sales call. Because so many people, they fall into a trap of trying to generate sales calls for the least amount of money. And there's obviously like a reason for that. People want to save money, but it also hinders them massively. And a really easy example of this is like buying domains and buying email addresses. Like, how many should you buy? How many could you buy? And when you, let's say like you calculate how much a client is worth to you, what your average close rate is on a sales call, and therefore you understand how much a appointment is worth to you or a sales call is worth to you. Let's say that number is $200. Could be 400, could be 500. Let's say it's $200. Like buying a email address and a domain, when you kind of do it properly, over the space of a year will cost you about $30. So appointment is worth $200. Domain and email is $30 a year. As long as that produces you, that one email address produces you a sales call every 6 years, it makes financial sense to have that email address. Therefore, if that kind of is true, then you should buy more email addresses basically, because it's like really easy to get a positive return on your investment. But when I first started, I didn't really think of it that way. And I tried to do everything as small and like cheap as I possibly could. And therefore I got out what I put in basically, which is small and cheap. So I just got off a coaching call with a very successful business owner. There's multiple hundreds of thousands of dollars every single month. And they wanted to improve the performance of their campaigns. And it boiled down to like this rationale of thinking, like not enough understanding around like what things are worth to you and therefore what you should be willing to spend to acquire those things. And this person didn't have enough email addresses, they didn't have enough domains, they weren't sending out enough volume to get the results that they were looking for. And it's kind of what it boiled down to. There's a few like anomalies and a few little different things going on, but ultimately that's what it boiled down to. So understanding the opportunity basically and the value of that opportunity is something that I wish I knew back when I first started. It would have made my like process of taking myself from where I was to where I am now, it would have happened much quicker. And hopefully this video is going to help you guys do the same as well. So that's really like the first thing that I wish I knew back then that I know now. Another thing is tracking, because it's something that is so boring. It's so like not sexy. It's not shiny. People want to like learn about the latest AI thing that people are talking about. And they're looking for like the next trend in email marketing. Do I use video? Don't I use video? Do I use AI? Personalize this, personalize that. And all of that stuff has its place. But it's really just about understanding that if I send an email with this subject line, it gets, say, a 40% open rate, or I send an email with this subject line, I get a 60% open rate. Okay, cool. Well, let's use the better subject line. If I send an email with this offer, I get a 1% booking rate. If I send an email with this offer, I get a 0.1% booking rate. Okay, now we're learning. But people they track things a little bit and they might look at their results a little bit, but people don't make enough data-driven decisions. They might make a couple, but there's no like systematic way of tracking everything they've tested and really refining it. Because ultimately, one thing I've learned over the years is that email marketing and most acquisition systems are really just a process of testing, just a process of like a scientific test that you take one variable out, you replace it with another one, you see what happens. It doesn't work as well. Okay, put it back. And then test something else, and then test something else. And over time, you can build this like really effective, successful campaign, but it takes time. And you can only get there with tracking. So that's another thing that I I didn't really understand when I first started with cold email, which is just how important not only tracking is, but then using that data to make informed decisions moving forward. If I was to think about a third thing, obviously offer is really important, making sure that you get that offer really specific for a target audience. That's really, really important. And there's lots of videos online, multiple videos on my channel about kind of how to do that. So I won't go into the depths of that. Another thing is like volume. People severely, me included, severely underestimate what is required to succeed, not only at like a certain level, but also for a duration as well. So like if you want to get, let's say 10 sales calls a week booked in, and you want to get 10 sales calls a week every single week for the next 24 months, that requires more than getting 10 sales calls a week booked for the next 2 weeks. So like understanding that volume is a massive underlooked thing, and it's also like a massive lever that you can pull. And so many people, so many of our clients, so many people that we work with, so many people that I consult with, they are doing something that works well, they're just not doing enough of it. And people are constantly trying to figure out like how to do the next thing, when they don't need to do the next thing. They don't need to move over to the next shiny object. All they need to do is just do more of what they're already doing. And I fell into that trap for so long, like looking at different videos, trying to think like, what are other people doing? There must be some like secret out there that I don't know about. And yes, there's like cold email fundamentals. There's no real secrets. It's just about making sure that the fundamentals are in place, making sure that you test and track properly, and make sure that you do enough volume. That's ultimately what it boils down to. So yeah, kind of realizing that you just need to get the fundamentals really solidly in place. That's going to be really helpful for you long term. Another thing that I wish I knew back when I started was around like getting help earlier. Like I figured out most of the stuff that I now know myself, but it took me quite literally 10, maybe 20 times longer than it should have done, because I tried to figure it out myself. And it wasn't out of some like belligerent thing where I need to know this myself, I need to do it myself. I just wasn't really aware that there was other people out there that had solved the problem and were like able to teach the solving of the problem. Like there's so many people out there, and this isn't like some backhanded pitch for our services, but there's so many people out there that can help you get to where you want to get to so much quicker and so much more safely, so much more effectively, so much more affordably as well. Only when, like, the beauty of hindsight is only when you actually get to where you want to get to, do you then realize the opportunity cost that you've paid for over the past however many days, months, and years of not achieving the results that you could have been doing, you should have been doing. So like it took me best part of a year to really nail down cold outreach and get it working as it is now, like a proper system that requires very little of my time, very consistent, gets me kind of the results that I want, and I have my hand on the dial very much, so I can turn it down, I can turn it up, and I know roughly how many sales calls we're getting. It took me like a year basically to get there. And let's say it's always going to take some amount of time to get there, but let's say it took me 3 months, right? So that's 9 months that's been wasted by me trying to get there by myself. If I'd have worked with somebody, I could have got there in 3 months. It took me 12 months, so it was 9 months wasted. Like we generate many more than 100 sales calls a month through cold email, but let's just say that we generate 100 sales calls a month. I've missed out on 900 sales calls by trying to figure this stuff out myself, which is kind of crazy when you think about it. I won't even go, because it will depress me too much, I won't even go into like what that would equate to in terms of, new clients, new revenue, the amount of people that would have been able to help. But yeah, like opportunity cost is huge. And it's something that so many people don't calculate because it's not tangible. It's not something that they can physically see and touch and grab, but it's something they should think about, is how much money am I leaving on the table by not taking action? Saying, I'll get it done in the new year, I'll get it done after the holiday season, I'll do it then. And then rarely happens. And if it does happen, you've wasted so much time, so much energy, so much opportunity. So yeah, there's a few things that I wish I knew when I first started that I do know now. And these are the sorts of things that we teach our clients. We teach them about opportunity cost. We teach them about, well, we don't teach people, we open their eyes to it. We open their eyes to the way of thinking, and we help them basically install the systems that we have in my own business into what could be your business, so that you're able to, as I said, have your hand on the dial in terms of how many sales calls you want. You just turn it up, you can turn it down, you can do what you want with that dial. So yeah, if you are thinking about wanting to book more sales calls, whether it be for your agency, whether it be for a coaching company, a consulting company, if you want more sales calls and you're tired of the opportunity cost kind of racking up and time constantly slipping you by, then what you can do is you can click that link in the description and yeah, we can have a chat basically. Find out what you're looking to achieve, whether or not I think your business is going to be a good fit for cold email and for what we have. Because we don't just do cold email, but it is our primary driver. And yeah, see if it's a good fit. And if it's not, that's absolutely fine. And we can give you some tools, some things to implement, or we can point you in the direction of somebody else that might be better suited to help you, because we're not the right fit for everybody, but we might be. And it's worth finding out, because having the ability to control your appointment flow, your sales call flow, and ultimately your client flow is something that every business owner should be able to do. If you've got any value from this video, hit that like button, help the channel grow, consider hitting that subscribe button as well. Have a great day, and I will speak to you and see you on the next one.